In this video, I'm going to talk to you about the 5 questions for analysis that you can ask to ensure that the communication that you're creating is effective. So the first question that you should always ask yourself before you ever start creating any kind of communication is, who is my audience? So you really want to think about who you're trying to communicate with. What does your audience already know about the topic? What would be of most interest to them? What are their needs, their interests, their concerns? Depending on who you're trying to communicate with, your message could be very different. For example, if you're talking to people about using Instagram, the way that you're going to communicate with baby boomers would be very different from the way that you would communicate with elementary school aged kids. So you really want to think about who your audience is, what are their specific interests in this topic. Okay, the next question that you need to ask is, what is the purpose of your communication? So what is your goal? What are you trying to achieve? The only way that your message will be successful is if you have some idea of what it is that you're trying to achieve in the first place. The next question that you need to ask is, what information needs to be included? So think about that checklist. So what information does your audience need to take the action that you want them to take? Make sure you're including all of the information that they need, and you can do that by using a checklist. Next question, what will persuade your audience? So you've already asked yourself who your particular audience is, so what in particular will be of interest to them? Generally, some things that will help persuade your audience. People like time. Nobody has enough time. So if your information can help them save time in their job, for instance, or maybe even help them save money or make more money, or give them some freedom to make some choices about maybe some different options. So think about what will persuade your audience. And then the last question is, what are the outside influences? So what's current? What's happening in the world today? For example, what's the state of the economy? What's the weather like? What are some issues or some topics that people are concerned about? Okay, so just to recap again, those are the 5 questions that you can use to analyze any business communication situation. The first question is, who is your audience? What is your goal in communicating? What information has to be included? What will persuade your audience? And then what are the outside influences? So now it's your turn to practice. What I want you to do is think about a recent communication situation, and this does not have to be business related. It could be a time when you've communicated with a friend or a classmate, maybe a relative, maybe your parents or a teacher. But I want you to think about a specific communication scenario, and I want you to answer all 5 of these questions. So sit down and write your answers to these questions, and then bring them to our next class and be prepared to turn them in. So let me know if you have any questions as you work on that, but otherwise I will see you in class.